The town of Ashwood was never the same after the night the stars went out. It started with a few scattered clouds, but soon the entire sky was shrouded in an inky blackness that seemed to suffocate the life out of the residents. At first, people wrote it off as a strange weather pattern, but as the days passed, a creeping sense of dread settled over the town. It started with small things: tools gone missing, food spoiled, and strange noises in the dead of night. But soon, the occurrences grew more sinister. Children would wake up in the middle of the night, screaming about dark figures in their rooms. Women would find strange symbols etched into their doors, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. Men would wake up to find their livestock slaughtered, with no signs of forced entry or struggle. The townsfolk were terrified, and whispers began to circulate about the god of evil, an ancient deity said to feed on human suffering. Some claimed to have seen him lurking in the shadows, his eyes glowing like embers from the underworld. As the days turned into weeks, the town's infrastructure began to crumble. Buildings would shift and twist, as if some malevolent force was trying to claim them as its own. The once clear river that ran through the town center began to churn with noxious, green sludge that seemed to seed with malevolent life. The residents of Ashwood were at a loss, unsure of how to fight back against the evil that had taken hold of their town. Some turned to prayer, while others sought out ancient rituals and incantations. But no matter what they did, the darkness only seemed to grow stronger. One resident, a young woman named Sarah, became convinced that she was the key to stopping the god of evil. She spent every waking moment researching ancient texts and seeking out forbidden knowledge. But the more she learned, the more she realized that the god of evil was not just a malevolent force. It was a patient, calculating entity that would stop at nothing to claim Ashwood as its own. As the weeks turned into months, the town descended into chaos. People turned on each other, accusations flying back and forth about who was responsible for the darkness. Some claimed to have seen shadowy figures lurking in the alleys, while others heard whispers in their ears, tempting them with dark promises. In the midst of the chaos, Sarah discovered a shocking truth. The god of evil was not just a random entity. It was a deliberate, calculated force that had been awakened by the town's own dark secrets. The residents of Ashwood had always prided themselves on their wholesome, small-town values, but beneath the surface, they had been harboring dark desires and petty cruelties. The god of evil had come to Ashwood because it was the perfect hunting ground, a place where the facade of civility was thin enough for it to exploit. And Sarah realized that the only way to stop it was to confront the darkness within themselves. But as she stood before the town, ready to deliver her message, she felt the weight of the god of evil's presence bearing down upon her. The stars were still out, and the air was thick with malevolent energy. The townsfolk looked at her with a mixture of hope and desperation, but Sarah knew that she was about to deliver a message that would change everything. "We can't defeat the god of evil without confronting our own darkness," she said, her voice shaking. "We have to face the fact that we're not as innocent as we thought." The town erupted into chaos, with some demanding that Sarah be silenced and others begging her to continue. But as the argument escalated, the god of evil made its move. A dark figure emerged from the shadows, its eyes blazing with otherworldly energy. The townsfolk froze, paralyzed with fear, as the figure began to speak in a voice that was both ancient and eternal. "I am the god of evil," it said, its words dripping with malevolence, "and I have come to claim this town as my own." As the townsfolk cowered in fear, Sarah stood tall, her eyes locked on the god of evil. She knew that she had to confront it, but she also knew that she might not be strong enough. The battle between good and evil had begun, and Ashwood would never be the same again.